Alcoholism and Addiction Recovery, Part 1, Responsible Drinking and Other Myths. Written by Robert C. Hickle, M.A. Edited and updated by Thomas H. Shear, Ph.D. Narrated by Frank Gerard. Preface. In October 1948, I attended my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was singularly unimpressed. In fact, I was so unimpressed that I would not have returned except for the fact that they wouldn't let me put any money in the hat, and I wanted to know more about an organization that wouldn't take my money. Since that time, I have attended many AA meetings and met many alcoholics, both practicing and recovering. Most of the information in this book has been gleaned from those meetings. These people have been most patient with me, teaching me and guiding me to understand this baffling disease. These are the only people who understand it. Alcoholics are the only real experts. These early days were lonely ones, both for the alcoholic and for those who would help the alcoholic. But the lonely days are over, and we have, until recently, been surrounded by an exploding treatment and research complex that has threatened to overwhelm us. It has been chic to be concerned with alcoholism, but we know the alcoholic is still alone. This small book, then, is an effort to call our wandering attention back to the reason we started all these activities in the first place, the suffering alcoholic. Robert C. Hickle, M.A. How Alcoholism Progresses. I am impressed by the progressive nature of alcoholism. We are all aware that the disease progresses while the alcoholic is drinking. The evidence is obvious. There seem to be more and more people agreeing that the disease proceeds to get worse even when the alcoholic has stopped drinking. When they return to drinking after a period of sobriety, they don't return to the old successful drinking, nor do they return to the level of aberrant drinking which they had reached when they had stopped. Instead, the drinker starts at the point they would have reached had they continued drinking. If this is true, it has some fascinating implications. Ignorant for the moment the possibility that alcohol did make them cross the line from social drinking to alcoholism, it appears that the progress of the disease may be dependent of the use of alcohol. It would be powerful evidence of the genetic predisposition toward alcoholism. If the progress of the disease is independent of the use of alcohol, is it possible that a person could be an alcoholic all of one's life with the disease progressing along as one grows older and one would never know it unless one took a drink? I am unaware of any studies that would identify alcoholics who started drinking, say, in their 40s and would discover whether they started in the early stages of alcoholism or if they really started in the later stages of alcoholism. A little glimpse of this possibility is shown in the limited studies of alcoholism among the elderly. There seemed to be evidence that many of them did not have a drinking problem until they got old. It would be interesting to find out when they began drinking. Reasons for drinking. I believe that alcoholics and social drinkers drink for the same reasons. The difference seems to be what happens after they start drinking. Examine the reasons social drinkers give for drinking: to be part of the crowd, peer pressure; to enjoy oneself, enhancement of feelings; to drown one's sorrow, relief drinking; to temporarily escape from life's problems, fantasy drinking; to deal with personal problems, escape drinking; to heal the effects of a previous drinking bout, or to alleviate the pain or illness, medicinal drinking. Alcoholics drink for all these reasons. In fact, a very careful examination of this fact leads to the idea that there is no clear demarcation line between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. No one has ever been able to discover that line. It is possible that there is no such line and that the whole process of beginning drinking, social drinking, and alcoholism is a smooth continuum with no interruptions. This would explain why we cannot find a line of demarcation. There isn't any. The decision to quit and the drink. Paradoxically, it appears that the alcoholic decides to quit drinking while still drinking.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?